Hello, folks. It's been a little while, but I just picked up this booster at the game store, and I thought I'd just do a quick pack pop here. Let's take a look at what I got. Now, this is a set called March of the Machine. The storyline behind this is that the Phyrexians have invaded the rest of the planes. So they're one of the new mechanics they added for this set was battles. These cards that you basically put in front of your opponent, and they become a new target that you can attack. And once all their defense has been beaten away, you can recast them transformed as the card on the other side. I thought this was a cool mechanic. I enjoy this set. I've only played it on Arena, however. I haven't played it with real paper cards, so I was curious to pick up a set booster here and own some actual cards. Now, the booster here comes with one of these art cards. Thalia and the Gitrog monster is the one I picked up here. It's pretty cool. Put that over here. Let's take a look at the actual cards. Another one of the mechanics in this set is incubate. When you incubate, it'll be incubate and a number. So when you incubate, you put down this token artifact that's a 0/0 artifact. And whatever the number is how many +1/+1 counters you put on it. And then at any point later on, you can pay 2 mana to transform it, which means you turn it up over and it becomes a Phyrexian token artifact creature with however many +1/+1 counters it had on it on top of it. So this is a pretty cool mechanic too. I've built some decks around that in Arena where you can just like generate, you just make this little artifact and then suddenly it becomes a giant monster. So we'll put that over there. Let's see what we got. Placid Rottentail. This is a 1/1, only costs you 1 green mana, creature Fungus Rabbit. This is a foil as well, obviously. Pay 2 and 1 green, exile Placid Rottentail from your graveyard. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. Activate only as a sorcery. So it's a vigilant 1/1. Not really that exciting. When it dies, you can reuse it to give some extra power to one of your other creatures. That's kind of cool. Another one of the things that came up a lot in this set are these like dual creature cards, where it'll be a creature and it's like 2 different characters from earlier sets of Magic that have sort of banded together, and it'll be this special like dual creature that has multiple abilities, or kind of a mix of the abilities of both of those characters. So this is Drana and Linvala. 1, 2 white and 1 black, legendary creature, vampire angel, 3/4, flying and vigilance. Activated abilities of creatures your opponents control can't be activated. Drana and Linvala has all activated abilities of all creatures your opponents control. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to activate those abilities. That's nuts. That's a pretty cool card. I'm glad I got that one. That's a rare. You see the little R down there. So that's a cool one. Ooh, this is a pretty cool one. Look at this art. Oh, pause. Okay, so here we have Firia, Judge of Valor, legendary creature, angel cleric, 2, 1 white, 2 black. It's a 2/4. Now it has this little symbol on it, and in my experience, when cards have had this symbol on them, and I've tried to play them in Arena, I'm only allowed to use them in Brawl decks, or I guess Commander decks. So that might be the case here. This might be a card specifically for Commander. I'm not sure, to tell you the truth. I mean, if you're just playing with your friends or whatever, the legality of the card doesn't really matter that much, I don't think. But this is an uncommon flying lifelink. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. That's pretty powerful. That's I mean, you do have to have a lot of little spells to be able to cast 2 to get that ability on a turn, but that's still pretty cool. And here's one of the things I was talking about. This is a battle. So this one is called Invasion of Belanon. It's 2 and a white. And as it enters, you put this number of counters on it, 5 counters, and it sits in front of your opponent, and then you can choose to attack it instead of your opponent or any planeswalker they might have. And it says, when Invasion of Belanon enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 white and blue knight creature token with vigilance. So that's pretty cool. That's usually how they work. They have some ability that they give you something when they come out, and then if you hit it enough times and get that 5 off, you get to play it as this. So this is Belanon War Anthem, an enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1. So it just sits in front of you, and that all your creatures have +1/+1. I mean, that's pretty cool. So that's a pretty neat one. It does. You do have to hit it. You have to get it 5 damage to get that ability. But meanwhile, you've got this 2/2 white and blue knight creature with vigilance, which is pretty nice. So that's a pretty cool card. This guy I've put in some of my decks. He's familiar to me. Aetherblade Agent. He's a 1/1 black. He has Death Touch, and he's a 1/1. He's not really that exciting. I mean, Death Touch is nice. But you can also pay 4 and 1 blue, or this symbol means you can just pay 2 health, two of your own life instead of the blue, and transform him. And when you transform him, he becomes Gitaxian Mindstinger, who becomes a 3/3 with Death Touch, and with this ability, whenever Gitaxian Mindstinger deals combat damage to a player or battle, draw a card. So that's a nice one, and nice to use in a deck with battles, because obviously you can hit that battle and get an extra card every time. So that's pretty cool. Here's Marshal of Zhalfir, a white and a blue, a 2/2 human knight. Other knights you control get +1/+1. I have a knight deck built around this guy. I have like 4 of this guy in the deck in my arena, because that's handy if you've got like a knight tribal deck. This guy obviously helps you out. Now it's only other knights, so he doesn't give himself +1/+1, but he gives all your other knights +1/+1. And you can also pay a white and a blue and tap him to tap another target creature. So that's pretty cool too. He's not bad for only 2 mana. Pretty cool. Here's another knight. This is a pretty good booster for a knight battle deck. Here's Zhalfir and Lancer, 2 and 1 white. He's a 3/3 knight. Whenever another knight enters the battlefield under control, Zhalfir and Lancer gets +1/+1 and gains vigilance until end of turn. That's pretty sweet. Wary Thespian, 1 and a green, cat druid, 3/1. When Wary Thespian enters the battlefield or dies, surveil 1. It's not my favorite card, but it could be useful, I could see. He's a common, so he's not going to be that exciting, but this one is like I use in a lot of my decks. This is very handy. So this is 2 and a green. It's an enchantment, and it enchants a land. And as it enters the battlefield, you incubate 2. So you get an incubate token with 2 +1/+1s on it. And also, whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional 1 mana of any color. So this is a great card for a deck where you've got a lot of different colored manas and you really need to like build up quick to like play some really big nasty cards. This is a great one to have because it gives you this, like, it essentially gives you a creature, and it also gives you this ability, this extra mana of any color, which is super useful. It exponentially upgrades your existing lands, which is really nice. This is another pretty good card I like. It's called Sunder the Gateway, 1 and 1 white. It's a sorcery, and it gives you 2 different abilities. Choose one. Destroy target non-token artifact or enchantment an opponent controls, always useful. And incubate 2. That's just one thing you can do. The other thing you can do is incubate 2, then transform an incubator token you control. So this is nice to be able to play like early on. You've only got 2 mana, maybe you don't have any little creatures in your hand. You can play this and then all of a sudden you've got a 2/2 creature in front of you. Or you can use it to obviously blow up something nasty that your opponent has, and then it gives you this extra where you can incubate 2 as well, which is really nice. Converter Beast, 3 and a green. He's a 0/1, which sounds pretty lame, but he has this ability. When Converter Beast enters the battlefield, incubate 5. So that means you've got basically a 5/5 creature waiting in the wings to be activated with another 2 mana. So that's the cool thing about it. It itself is not really that useful. Like a 0/1 is not really that great. He just sort of sits there to block one time before he dies. But he gives you that 5/5 incubator token, so that's cool. And this comes also with a nice Plains card. Cool art on that one. So there we go. Pretty good set booster. March of the Machine. This is a set I was kind of annoyed at when it was first announced, because I'm like, I wanted Lord of the Rings faster and this was in the way. But then when I started reading about it and started playing it, I was like, this is actually really cool. It's got a lot of cool ideas in it. It was a fun set to build decks around. So there you go. See you guys later.